you.
Okay.
Are we going to read?
Yeah,
Councilman Doyle, you have a question first, Councilman Doyle?
I do have a question. I just wanted to ask Corporation Counsel, I guess at this point it's too late, but the ordinance with regard to MBS, I thought was supposed to be on the agenda for tonight. And do you, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Brian, but I thought we were in good
supposed to be on
shape.
the agenda, and I thought it was because the language was all approved.
That's
I
correct.
can certainly pull it up if you'd like to add that to the agenda.
Was it mod? Is that what it was? It's not second reading, it's in first reading?
No, this is the first reading. It's an ordinance because it's dealing with a pilot and it's an amended and restated agreement.
But didn't we vote on first reading at the last meeting?
It was pulled.
We did not.
We pulled it. There was some, no, we pulled it last meeting.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
So I guess we'll go with the will of the council, but I mean,
I'm fine with, I'm familiar with the language. I think the other council members are as well. So I feel comfortable voting with it if we have to tonight.
Me too.
Okay. I thought it was actually on the agenda, but there was
it was supposed to be on the agenda. I know that.
No, it actually was on the agenda when I looked at it at one point. It's just the language.
Yeah, on Friday or Thursday or Friday it was on, but I think there was a question of the
Okay, good evening. This is the Ignorance is No Excuse podcast. We're here in Hoboken, New Jersey tonight. A couple of speakers are going to speak, and we're going to get out of here real quick. But we want to talk about some cannabis issues here in Hoboken.
So you're not actually changing the ordinance. You're clarifying the fact that the pilot and the percentage stays the same, but the pilot is paid based upon actual.
They are not talking about cannabis yet. They're talking about something else. And this has been a long meeting. They started at 7 o'clock, and it's now 10:45, and they're just getting the public portion now. So this should be pretty interesting. Had me waiting all night. But Hoboken has their own set of issues. They are going to allow for cannabis dispensaries, but this tax that they're going to accept, this wheelchair tax, the cancer tax, the MS tax, well, we want representation for that taxation, and I want them to know.
Let me just read it. Ordinance of the City of Hoboken in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, amending and restating financial agreement with MBS Housing Urban Renewal, LLC.
Correct.
Councilman Cohen?
Aye.
Councilman DeFusco?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Aye.
Councilwoman Falco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Giattino?
Yes.
Councilman Jabor?
Yes.
Councilman Russo?
Yes.
And Council President Ramos.
Yes.
That's all.
And one more item. I believe we have a language that we feel comfortable with regarding what we were discussing earlier. Councilman DeFusco, Councilman Russo, Councilman Giattino.
Yeah, Councilman Russo proposed some language that's agreeable to myself and Council Vice President Giattino. Councilman, I would love you to be a co-sponsor with Jen and I if you'd like to read it into the record as well.
Yeah, sure. That's great. So the changes would read, a ward council member may have any ordinance or resolution specifically impacting their ward pulled during a council meeting before the vote to allow for additional public input and the ward council person's review. If pulled, the matter shall automatically be carried and considered at the next occurring council meeting unless an override by vote of 2/3 of full majority of the city council. If the motion to override does not carry, the postponement may only occur one time.
That's fair. I think very fair.
That's a good job. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would have voted no on the original, though.
Could you read that one more time, Michael? I'm sorry.
Sure. A ward council member may have any ordinance or resolution specifically impacting their ward pulled during a council meeting before the vote to allow for additional public input.
I want to know about the ordinance they did just passed that says the ordinance to prohibit public officials from blocking constituents on social media. Yeah, that was just talked about. Why would we need an ordinance for that.
Override does not carry the postponement may only occur one time.
So the override would happen at that meeting.
You could have
Correct.
exactly.
So the person would say,
it's-
"I want to carry this," and if 2/3 of the council disagrees,
correct.
it would fail.
So
Okay.
it would be, it's almost in the same motion of overriding the chairman. If the chairman
Okay.
pulls something off of the meeting,
It-
we could
in other
override
words-
the chair by a vote. So
in other
it'd be
words,
kind of
there's-
the same concept.
They have 2 weeks to get to work.
2 weeks to get to work, right?
Not that I really want to add something, but it says automatically be considered at the next meeting. Does it go with an understanding that if no council person wants to sponsor it at the next meeting, it's not there?
Yeah,
Yes, that's correct.
Another council person could jump in and sponsor it. That's all.
No. I mean, if 9 council people do not want to sponsor something, does it automatically show up on the agenda anyway?
No, it would need a sponsor and a co-sponsor, but it gives opportunities for other council members to sponsor a resolution or ordinance.
Perfect.
You want to add if sponsors exist, or, I mean, to make it
Yes.
clear
I think
that
just
if
clear,
there aren't,
as long as there are 2 sponsors.
If it has a sponsor and a co-sponsor.
Okay, so Brian, you and I could finalize that language and then
Absolutely.
as amended with the intent as Councilwoman Giattino explained.
Thank you
Sounds
all.
good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Call vote?
Councilman Cohen,
Aye.
Councilman DeFusco,
Yes.
Councilman Doyle,
aye.
Councilman Falco,
Yes.
Councilman Fisher,
Yes.
Councilman Giattino,
Yes.
Councilman Jabor,
No.
Councilman Russo,
Aye.
and Council President Ramos.
Aye. All right, now we have members, public portion?
Yep.
Yep. Levon Smith?
Greetings again, City Council.
Evening, welcome back.
Unfortunately, while I do appreciate the kind comments from everyone, it's almost as though it was disingenuous. If you really cared about the law, why wasn't there any thought or process put into our recommendations or opinions sought from attorneys regarding the issue with Aaron Lewitt being conflicted in his vote for MBS housing? As a matter of fact, you guys just voted on a resolution for MBS housing. How come there was no effort put into asking Mr. Lewitt to resign from the Hoboken Housing Authority Board for his conflicted vote that he submitted back in December? And don't look at the camera, Jen, like you don't know about this, because I tagged you in it on Facebook when the article came out on Hudson County View.
How can he see her?
So, I mean, let's not pretend like we don't know about this.
I can't see her.
Again, Emily, I'm sure Erica Seitzman recommended to you that you get a council opinion on the board appointment, but did she recommend to you that you get a attorney opinion on Aaron's conflict? Because I spoke directly with her about it, and I spoke directly with all of the Housing Authority board members about it. So again, I'm going to read to you the opinion from Joe Manfredi. Now, Joe Manfredi is a Hoboken Housing Authority attorney, and he sent us an email on December 16th, and in it contained that it said again about Aaron's conflict. Note that term interest is not limited to financial interest. Critically, a HUD presentation of conflict or interest contains the following example. Marvin is the administrator of 2 apartment projects that participate in HUD Section 8 voucher program in El Paso. Marvin is also an HHA commissioner. Is there a problem here? Yes, HUD Section 8 housing voucher regulations provide that housing authority may not enter into any contract in connection with Section 8 voucher programs in which any present member of the housing authority has an interest. 24 CF 982.161A-1. Marvin must resign from the housing authority board or the house. So why wasn't there anything sought there? I mean, you seek these legal opinions that when they fit your agenda. And I'll tell you further about my experience with the appointment for the Housing Authority Board. Back about 3 months ago in March, I got a call from none other than Ms. Falco, who told me that if I wanted to be reappointed to the Housing Authority Board, that I would have to basically support Mayor Bala, that if I wanted Mayor Bala to reappoint me to the board, I would have to support him politically. So look into the legalities of that, please.
I did not say that. Council President, can I speak?
Would you like to hear your voice in the recording of the message that you sent me?
Oh, wow.
I did not say that. I said you need to have a conversation with Mayor Bala. You've been on the board. It would be in your best interest
my
for
time to
both
speak,
of you. And I
Councilwoman.
said it to Mayor
Oh,
Bala
and-
as well.
Let
I
him
said it
finish.
to
Let
Mayor
him
Bala
finish.
as well.
Let him finish, Beth. I think you agree, but
Woo!
Obviously, she feels some type of way.
Oh!
Please maintain your composure, Councilwoman.
Oh.
Jason, finish.
Thank you. Again, so please, if you want to talk about looking at the legalities of things, please look into the legality of that. Please recommend that Mr. Aaron Lewitt resign from the Hoboken Housing Authority Board. Because of the conflict that, again, in that meeting where he was conflicted, 3 times we asked to postpone the vote, 3 times. And he insisted on voting to pass Section 8 vouchers that people in the Hoboken housing community have waited over 20 years for. And we just want to pass those vouchers off as a way to fund the community center that that MBS wants to build at the YMCA. I have more to come. I'll be definitely participating in all future council meetings, and obviously I'll be participating in all housing authority meetings, but there is definitely more to come on these issues, and I hope and look forward to speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next we have
Josh Alpin.
Hello, can you hear me?
yes. Welcome, Josh.
I guess I missed out. It somehow didn't get in on the earlier round, so Bill, apologize in advance. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse if a proposal was here. But
I spoke to the police department.
Ryan, mute yourself.
Thought that was me for a moment. So anyways, I was going to call in and talk about the social media ordinance resolution. And
oh yeah,
without getting into too much detail, I would prefer and like to really see in some of these cases, if we're going to start passing stuff to fine people for what is vaguely a combination of either private or public activity and serving in one's role, at least if we could make sure that the language in there really is buttoned up and covers us. I mean, the ordinance itself seems to put the onus on the social media platform to decide what would be targeted abuse. And simply put, they don't, if you read their terms, they don't even define what targeted abuse is. It's something superficial left up to them. So practically, what are we going to start fining council members because they want to block someone because they feel abused by it, but Twitter hasn't said that they qualify that as abuse? I mean, Facebook's board today even said themselves that the Facebook policy isn't clear on its own. So, I mean, it would be nice if we were going to try to implement something, given that this, not anyone here, but this council in the past has futzed around with First Amendment issues and cost the taxpayers money, that we make sure we get it right and we're not leaving ourselves open. But more importantly, I sat here this whole time listening to everything, and this city has real issues, and this just seems to, I don't know if we're at 3 or 4 meetings in a row, and just listening to this whole meeting, we can keep political attacks out of the meetings, please. This can be done on your own time. When you're on the council and when you're actually serving the community in your official duties, it would be awesome if we focus on getting stuff done for the city. We don't need to be attacking each other in these meetings. Do it on your own. Very simple. And this ordinance, to be very fair, while there does have good merits behind it and a general purpose, let's not pretend that it doesn't have to do with something that happened and complaints against someone, and therefore this came up. And I'm not trying to pick on you, Phil, here, because these things seem to happen going both ways across this council. So, maybe resolutions start becoming reserved for actual business. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Out, Phil.
Mr. President, could I just briefly respond to what Josh said?
Ooh.
Sure.
Thanks. So Josh, with respect to your comment about the social media platform's definition of abuse and harassment, actually Councilwoman Fisher raised that issue this afternoon and asked that language be struck from the ordinance, and it was. based on her request. So the language that was remaining, and as far as wasting the community's time, you were the only person who's spoken on it so far. Council President wouldn't let me speak when it came up, but the language that was there would allow for members of the elected officials to block people based on harassment or abuse, and that would have been based on New Jersey law. And I discussed this with Corporation Counsel Brian Aloya, who said that public officials have a fairly high threshold when it comes to that issue. So that would have been done pursuant to New Jersey law. But again, this was just on first reading tonight, and because of the vote tonight, it will not be, the public really won't be able to comment on this. And this is an issue of actually significant public interest. And I can talk about more about that in new business, which I will. But thanks, Josh. I appreciate your comments.
Next speaker.
Hugh Giordano.
Yes, can you hear me
Welcome.
okay?
Yes, we can. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I know it's late, and I really appreciate how this council is running. It's nice that you all actually have lots of debate and conversation. This is real politics, and I'm glad that you all talk about it. First off, my name is Hugh Giordano. I'm a union representative for the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW, Local 152. The UFCW is the official labor union which represents cannabis workers from seed to sale, both adult use and medical use, under the guise of the AFL-CIO. Before I begin my comments, I want to say, Councilman Russo, I'm sorry for the loss of your father. I know I texted you last week. I didn't know, and I apologize.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's not a problem. I just want to say I'm sorry. I didn't know. I would have never bothered you.
No
I
worries.
apologize. It was really good to hear that in the beginning of the meeting, my union brother, Tom Hurley from the building trades, was here talking about project labor agreements and building labor facilities using trades labor, which is done efficiently, done correctly, and has long-standing effects. And I'm happy to hear that this council seems to be a pretty pro-labor council, because a couple of folks brought up labor issues, and I'm glad to hear that. It's good to see that you all support working class people. And you talk about social equity, which is another issue. In saying this, I know that Hoboken has been doing a lot as far as having folks talking about coming into the city in regards to medical. Under the state law, they have to sign a labor peace agreement. The unions, both the trades and the UFCW, have worked hard to get cannabis legislation through, which protects workers in the state of New Jersey. These employers sign a labor peace agreement and a project labor agreement, and that's all good. But we know, just like a project labor agreement and a labor peace agreement, until the employer fulfills those agreements, it's just a piece of paper, and it causes issues. I want to say in the most positive way that we are working with many employers who have signed LPAs, but a labor peace agreement is not a collective bargaining agreement. A collective bargaining agreement is the only thing that guarantees wages, benefits, sick time, vacation time. Employee handbooks do not do that. The state, the governor, the president of the Senate, and the Assembly president have all supported this. This is part of the cannabis legislation. I have two asks, and because I know it's late, and I'm sorry. Again, I apologize for this being so late at night, but it's important because I know there's a lot of movement happening. I would ask that Hoboken, the council, and the mayor's administration ask if they're fulfilling their labor peace agreements when moving into the city. Because if not, then they are not complying with state law, and that's a problem. And we don't want that to happen. We are working with industry to make things work. The union, the UFCW, has been instrumental in making sure that cannabis workers and industry have a voice. We've been working, it's a hand-in-hand type of thing, and along with the building trades. So I would ask the council, please ask that before things go forward. And I would ask you that you please update your rules and regs on the medical review board. I would ask that you look at the city of Bayonne. The city of Bayonne passed a really great ordinance which puts labor standards, environmental standards, security standards. It's a merit-based system. So it's not based on words, it's based on action. These are multi-state employers as well. And I would ask, do they have collective bargaining agreements in other states? These types of things matter. They really do. I know this council cares. I know you do. I heard it in your voices tonight. So please, I look forward to talking to you more. I'll reach out, and I look forward to speaking. Thank you.
Thank
Council
you.
President, if I could just quickly add, it's definitely something we're already having conversations about as far as changing the legislation here in the city. So I think we're all on the same page with that. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done and protect the city and protect its workers. So so thanks for the comments. Appreciate it.
Michael Schreiber.
Thank you, council people. And I know it's a long night, and if you lived at the corner of Bloomfield and First, and we're Friday, you'd only have one more hour before it would be quiet enough to imagine going to sleep. So I wanted to just make sure I know, in the light of all the big and weighty topics today, it may seem like a throwback to revisit the conversations that we've been having about parklets and the impact, particularly in the corner of First and Bloomfield. But the situation has not been changed. There has not been comment from either the bar or from the administration. The reality is the sound challenges, the other dynamics are still as we described. I know that there are other people throughout the city who are now starting to learn how sound works, and that sound waves are kind of superpositional principal entities, and that 2 people talking and then 4 people talking does yield twice as much sound and loudness or intensity. And so as places like Olivia's and others start opening up, I expect that you'll hear more and more people talking about the challenges of living proximal to some of these parklets that operate until midnight as bars and drinking establishments. And so again, just wanted to make sure that this council was aware, and I thank council people Giuttino, Fisher, DeFusco, and President Ramos, who have all been engaged and continue to show support of at least trying to get a formal response from the city about opportunities to mitigate the situation. But did want to make sure that this issue was still on the tops of people's minds, even as we explore other bigger changes in the First Ward through these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your comments.
Council President, while I have Michael on the line,
he's off the line now.
Okay, well, I'm sure he's still listening. Jerry Lohr in the clerk's office, can you please get the council a listing of all of the fees paid by restaurateurs to the city over the past year for the parklets built? I do have a concern that parklets are being given away for free in exchange for political donations. So if you could please get me a list of all of the monies transferred between restaurateurs, bars, and the city of Hoboken, I would appreciate that.
Just let you know, the clerk doesn't collect the fees for the parklets.
Yeah, we'll figure that out, Councilman.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Perry Bird.
Perry Bird. Mr. Bird, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Mrs. Bird.
One moment. Sorry about that.
No.
I'm here with Hugh today. Dear Mayor and Council of Hoboken, my name is Perry. I'm a current employee in the New Jersey medical cannabis industry. I'm here tonight to express my support for labor standards within the city of Hoboken and its future medical cannabis industry. As a cannabis worker, I know firsthand the amount of time and effort it takes to be a great employee for both the patients and the bosses. I'm fortunate to work for an employer who respects their employees enough to not only sign a labor peace agreement, but also luckily that my employer is collectively bargaining and is following through with the labor peace agreement. I know as many cannabis workers in New Jersey are not as lucky as me, and their employers either use stall tactics or outright use every single way imaginable to keep their facilities from having a real union, a real voice on the job. All cannabis workers deserve a living wage with major medical retirement, and a UFCW boy. I would ask that as a worker, that City of Hoboken only support and endorse cannabis owners that not only sign a labor peace agreement, but also bargain a union contract with their workers. There are excellent cannabis employers who want to do the right by citizens, but Hoboken must demand those labor standards. If not, employers will continue to use and abuse workers in the cannabis industry. I'd like to add that also as a patient and consumer who looks for union-made products, that good workers who, with fair wages and benefits, to me equaling a better quality of life, take more pride in their work. And to me, that leads to better products, and in this case, medicine being available on the market. I'd like to thank you for your time, y'all, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Al
Next.
Timick.
Al Timick. Welcome, Al.
Thank you. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to do the short version of my my speech. So it's interesting because as a first ward resident, I have to agree with with what a previous first ward speaker said before, that the city likes to stick it to the first ward. And you know, speaking about sticking it to the first ward, you know, I'm kind of speaking about the residents of the First and Bloomfield. You know, and I want to discuss again the McSwiggan's Parklet and the total lack of transparency around it, right? You know, other than the email I just received today from Mr. Freeman, there has been no communication around what's happening with the parklet from the city, after being told weeks ago that it's being worked on. And I'll say worked on in quotes if you can see me. You know, I do want to say, Mr. Freeman, that thanks for confirming that you are aware of our concerns and that you actually received our emails. You know, we the residents are frustrated because there really has been total silence from the city up to today, basically. You know, with that said, it seems that the city's only having a dialogue with the bar owners, not the residents, which feels like we're just repeating the same mistake that got us in this situation in the first place. You know, the public and the neighbors should be involved, so the solution is really a win-win for all of us, as you mentioned. And I think, you know what, a regular weekly, bi-monthly call with the city and the residents would be a great start. You know, Mr. Freeman, is that something that we could potentially do just to kind of bridge that communications gap? And I'm hoping you're still on the call.
Yeah, no, I understand, Mr. Timmick, your response. And like I said in the email today, I think the residents, some of your neighbors, have made your wishes and your desires of this very, very clear. And our end, we're trying to get an idea of what's practical, what's doable. And then I can assure you, we will come back to you with some of the options that we've kind of negotiated with the bar owners to ensure that we're kind of on a win-win-win, like I said in the email today. So,
I mean, can we do like a, you know, not even a weekly, but a bi-weekly call just to make sure it's kind of moving and just to kind of keep us, you know, not feeling like being totally ignored?
yeah, I will make myself available to you. I can shoot you an email later and give you my cell phone number, and so you and I can stay kind of in the same loop, and you can share that with your neighbors.
Okay, perfect. And then you know, I guess my final point, just to make it a little shorter, is, you know, there's the $1 million question. What happens with what's the plans with the parklets when the, you know, post state emergency? So the state just set out indoor capacity to 100% due to improving conditions. And who knows, the state emergency may be lifted sooner than anybody thinks. So, you know, policy needs to be implemented now so that the parklets do not become permanent, especially since they were designed, built without following the city ordinance and without any public input at all. So, you know, the question is, do the parklets get torn down at the end of the state emergency? Do the parklet applications go through public review and the parklets get adjusted based on public input? Or do they become permanent and permanently degrade the quality of life, not just of us here on First and Bloomfield, but other neighborhoods as well, because this is happening all over the city. So, yeah, as a just kind of quick reminder, the city really needs to do its job and have an answer proactively before the state emergency ends and, you know, there is no answer and things just become permanent. So thank you for your time and good night.
Good point. Thank you, Al. Much appreciated.
Council President, Director Freeman, I'm not sure what the holdup is, but, you know, Council Vice President Giattino has secured somebody to move the parklet at no charge to the bar to First Street, which is where all the neighbors would like it. I, as the councilman, I think it's a good solution. The bar can continue having a parklet just on First Street, not Bloomfield Street. So I'm not sure what the what the holdup is, why we're making this bureaucratic. So, what is the win-win-win? There is only one solution. It's to move it to First Street. Can you just expand on that?
There's a lot of moving pieces related to that, Councilman. There's a loading zone there. You have to move a loading zone. You're going to eliminate permanent parking spots by moving that loading zone to the other side. So there's moving pieces to it. You don't just come in and tell someone what to do with their property. We're working on it. I appreciate your input, Council Vice President Giustino's input.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. The street is not the property.
I didn't talk about the street. I didn't talk about the street. I talked about their property is the parklet.
Okay.
They built that. They put the money to make that. That is theirs. So we're not just gonna.
But the street is ours, isn't it? That's the point. We own the street.
That's correct. It's built improprieously on a public right-of-way, Director. So it's really not. It's not their property.
Councilman, you're the same person who gets mad at us anytime we tow a car that's in the right-of-way. So we're being very cognizant of all the moving pieces related to this. I can assure you, we are looking for a win-win-win. I'm not trying to create any hardship for anybody, businesses included. So I'm all on board for working with everyone. We're trying to assess what's realistic in terms of all the options we have with the two bars on that corner. And I can assure you we're doing the best we can to move that.
Let's get to the next speaker, please.
Tony Tamarazzo.
Hi, thank you. Good evening,
Welcome,
everyone.
Tony. Welcome.
Thank you all for supporting MBS tonight. I wanted to make some clarifying statements without really debating the points at this point, because MBS is certainly reserving our right to advocate for the awarding of the vouchers. But just to remind our community that MBS is a 96-room, low-income, affordable housing program for single men. In order to qualify to live in that building, which gives single low-income men a 10 by 10 furnished room with shared bathrooms and no cooking facilities. In order to qualify to live in that facility, you must make less than $24,900 a year. Of our residents, many make significantly less than that, and the plurality of our residents pay in excess of 70% of their income to cover the rent on that single unit. The reason that occurs is because we have 0 Section 8 housing vouchers. If the project had housing vouchers, those residents would pay 30% of their income towards the overall rental requirement. It is unfair to forget that affordable housing is the totality of the circumstance in our community. The Hoboken Community Center has demonstrated this year that we have a firm and strong commitment to all of our underserved residents. The pantry, which has been started, developed, and supported, not just through the generous donations of literally hundreds of our fellow residents, but through the hard work of the volunteers who run the Hoboken Community Center. And it is an outreach of the program that we have been running for over 127 years, which is an affordable housing program. The fact that we are running this program without subsidized, or I would say significant and material subsidized support, is just unfathomable. And for us to advocate to change the scope of that is just and fair and is appropriate in this community. And we will continue to raise that issue. Because you're a single low-income male doesn't make you any less entitled to the support of both our federal, state, county, and local governments. And the fact is that the last 8 residents that we have had the privilege of admitting to our facility have been received through the county or other social agencies. These are men who often have no other option. We give them housing, and in many instances, we have tremendous success stories where they've moved through this housing continuum and made themselves, and in many instances, their families, in a better place. So I urge this council to continue, because you have been extremely supportive and understanding that MBS represents part of the continuum of affordable housing in this city. And it is imperative that we ensure the long-term success of that facility. There are 96 low-income men who are counting on us. So we will continue to advocate and do the right thing. We believe that the opinion that was given is not factual. We don't know the due process that went into it. And frankly, the last speaker made the perfect case to exempt other housing authority members who do work for companies that manage affordable housing stock. Aaron Lewitt does not work for a company that manages affordable housing stock. But again, this is not the time to debate that issue. It's the time for us to all continue to recognize that MBS is part of the continuum of affordable care in the city. And the Hoboken Community Center continues to make a commitment, not just through the pantry, but through our affordable housing program, to those residents. And we deeply appreciate the consideration of the council, the support of Mayor Bala and his administration. We can continue to do that in this great city. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Next we have
Lefty Grimes. Lefty.
Good evening, Council. Can you hear me?
Where'd he go?
Lefty left. Lefty put his hand down.
Lefty's time's up.
No, he's
Lefty.
still there. Oh wait, he's somehow.
There goes Lefty. Lefty's back.
I don't
Lefty went right.
You see him?
I see his hand. I see a hand up.
Oh, there we go.
Good evening, Council. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Lefty.
Thank you. My name is Lefty Grimes, 213 Avenue B, Bayonne. I'm also on the medical advisory board of TerraSend, one of the dispensaries here in New Jersey, and I'm also with sativacross.org, a 501c3 here in New Jersey. We advocate for disabled persons and cannabis patients' rights. And I want to echo everything Hugh Giordano said from the UFCW. I was a CWA member for many years, and it was awesome to be a union member. I got job training, great benefits. It was really a good experience. I worked my way up to management from the union, and I believe that the unions are very important in the cannabis industry. Right now, we need all the help we can get because, as patients, we're being hit by all sides. We're getting hit with taxes. We're getting hit with moldy cannabis from corporate cannabis, and I think the unions can help with the moldy cannabis because in the union you care about your job a lot more, and there's room for, if you have to be a whistleblower, hey, I agree. If there's something wrong, you're going to call it out. You got to call it out, and we're talking about people that are patients, the people that are sick and dying that we need to help. And so, yeah, unions do matter. And it's very important to have a union, and I wouldn't accept anything but a union dispensary in Hoboken. The other problem that I see, though, is the taxes. We're getting hit with a 7% tax from the state, 2% tax from each town. And I call it a wheelchair tax. I call it a tax on cancer, a tax on multiple sclerosis. I mean, it's called what it is. So if you're going to accept that tax, at least give us representation for that taxation and give us wheelchair access, because all through Hudson County, there is no wheelchair access, especially in the urban enterprise zones. There's one step is a wall to someone in a wheelchair. Now, I understand that Hoboken has a lot of places where it's a few steps down. I'm not talking about that. But certainly, these businesses that have one step, it's basically a bag of cement to fix it. And with all the money you're going to receive from this wheelchair taxes, at least give the people in wheelchairs something for that money and give them wheelchair access. You could partner with these businesses and maybe even have an ordinance where if you change the business, you absolutely have to do it. But at least partner with the businesses now. I mean, it's brutal. If you're in a wheelchair, I ask every council I go to spend a day in a wheelchair with me. And not one council has taken me up on it. I've been to probably 200 councils. And nobody has taken me up on that yet. I do a lot of advocacy in Bayonne. I've gotten 23 ramps in Bayonne by going around and just asking for compassion. And that's what I'm asking for, is compassion. And if you can also help us in any way to get home grow, if you know anybody in Trenton that you can help us, because we need all the help we can get. We're sick and dying people. We lost a lot of people. 1 out of 10 of us die every year as patients. So 100,000 of us now, I expect 10,000 people to die this year. I don't know. The number's held true for the last few years. So I don't know if that number's still true or not, but it's a scary number. And if you're sick and dying, please, I ask you to take care of the sick and dying of Hoboken and Hudson County. And I'll end it with this. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lefty. No more speakers. Motion to close the public portion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
New.
Council
I have
President.
one item for new business. Councilman Cohen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let
Jen had-
Vice President go first.
She did have her hand up. I'm
Yes.
sorry. She had her hand up.
I did that in school all the time too. I just, is Ryan Sharp here, Director Sharp? I think he might have left. Jason, maybe you can, or Director Freeman, if you could relay to him. I've been getting complaints about the no parking around BASF, that there's a lot of permanent no parking there now, I guess for the building of the park. And what's happened is it seems like
Did he close before I was done talking? No, I think I was finished. I did the ode. I said, they shall grow not old. I did the ode. And then they thanked me, and then they moved on to new business or whatever. So, yeah. I'm out of here. I'm going to go do a dab and get some coffee. I'm done. Oh, hold on. You can't even see me. Wow. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, that was a fun night of 4.5 hours of wow. If you thought the CRC was a long meeting, wow. Hoboken really, they don't play. They just talk. They are a bunch of talkers in that town. Wow. And they argue. They argue amongst themselves a lot. They like really, wow. They bicker amongst themselves. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know if it's good or not. It's better than whispering. I'd rather bickering amongst themselves or whispering amongst themselves. What's worse? I think whispering is worse. So bickering, at least it's out in the open. Maybe when they whisper terrible things to each other. Who knows? So anyway, thanks for tuning in. This was Hoboken. Bayonne, I don't know what happened there. Going back next week to Bayonne in person. El Rampador is going back to Bayonne. Yes, it's in person. So that should be fun, going back to Bayonne in person as El Rampador. They cannot deny me entry because of my mask. I will need a mask to get in, and I am wearing a extra large mask, as is my right. So it'll be fun tomorrow. No, next week. Tomorrow we do have a meeting early. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I have to be somewhere tomorrow. I'm going to church tomorrow. So good night, everybody. You have a great night. I'm going to finish my blunt. I actually rolled a blunt. It was so big. Look at this thing. It was huge. It was a necker. It was to the neck. I'll finish it now. So thanks for tuning in. It was a good night. I'm glad Hugh's happy. Hugh wanted to get support for the unions over there, and I agree. I totally agree. We need unions for these dispensaries. That's the only thing that's going to, well, it's one of the things that we need as patients. Believe me, it's going to help the working class, to have working class people supported and feel good about working and have good benefits and not have to worry about being axed. A lot of these corporations are just about money. Well, actually, all of them. They don't care. At least unions will give them something to keep their eye on. I mean, you got a union that's going to keep them honest. That's what we did as union workers. We kept the big guys honest. And we just want to eat a decent wage, decent benefits, health care, vacation time, sick time, all those things, healthy work environment, ADA access, OSHA requirements, training, all of that stuff. Picnics. I want the Remember the picnics we used to have? Well, the corporate picnics. Hey, Hugh. Hey, Hugh, wake up. Hugh's sleeping in his car. He probably dabbed out. Hugh, wake up. Do they have picnics? I want to go to the next UFCW picnic, Hugh. You better take me as your date, Hugh. I swear to God. Hugh, listen to me, Hugh. You're taking me. You owe me for tonight for sitting through that 4.5 hour ordeal. It wasn't even fun. No, it was actually fun. So you're taking me as a date to your next UFCW picnic, Hugh. Thank you, Hugh. And my phone, you're called Hi Giordano. I refuse to change it. It was a mistake. Instead of Hugh, I spelled it High. I didn't want to change it. I'm never going to change it. Don't you ever change. Hi, Giordano. HAF Giordano. HAF Giordano. Oh, man. Is anybody watching this fucking mess? No, of course not. Who would be watching this shit? This isn't interesting at all. It's just another council meeting where we're talking about cannabis. Hey, and wheelchair access. It doesn't interest you. Unless you're in a wheelchair, then you might be interested. Then it might be like, hey, you know what? This guy might help me someday get some wheelchair access. Yeah, well, I might. I might build a Lego ramp for your ass. We got the Legos. I just got boxes of Legos back. They were in storage, and now I got them back, and we're going to make some Lego ramps. I have to clean them. They're all glued up. They got glue on them, so I have to have a project where we could take the Lego ramps apart and make a smaller ramp. And, yeah, it's a mess. I really screwed up. I didn't know what I was doing the first time. Now I know what I'm doing, and we'll make Lego ramps. Hello, McFly. Do we have any songs I can play? I'm so stoned I think I'm going to do a song before we go. All right. What the hell? Why not? Nobody's watching anyway. Who gives a shit? I'm going to go have fun now. I'm signing off from this meeting. Goodbye. Goodbye, Hoboken. Hoboken. See ya. See ya. See ya.
By getting reviewed for a medical cannabis card, contactless appointments. Medical cannabis is now legal by telemedicine. Get the medicine you need by getting reviewed for a medical cannabis card. Contactless appointments available at Cannasense.com. For as low as $39, you can get reviewed for a medical cannabis card. That's Cannasense.com for a licensed medical cannabis doctor review. Cannasense.com has all the information you need to get connected with a doctor. That's Cannasense.com. Cannasense is common sense.
Medical.
There's something fishy about this, and I want the lowdown. Now come clean. Where did I come from?
I can tell a guy you love to hate. Yeah, by me when you see me on the prom date. Ain't no word, the herb is the word. I feel the groove, don't be
Picking up buds in the hot sun. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. I needed something, but I had none. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. I left my bong and it feels so bad. I guess my bowl's cashed. Bong Julio's the best bong for my hash. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. Dabbing 3 people filling 6 lungs. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. I lost my bong and I lost my fun. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. Left my bong and it feels so bad. I guess my bowl is cashed. Bong Julio's the best bong for my hash. Bong for the law and the bong one. Bong for the law and the bong one. A song. Oh, you hippies out there. Get out your squeegees, you damn squeegee hippie people. Yeah. Keep your dreadlocks at home, Patchouli people. Well, you can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. Barnegat, Berkeley, Bridgeton, Bridgewater, Brigantine, Carlstadt, Chatham, Clifton, Granbury, East, Rutherford, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Fairhaven, Freehold, Garfield, Hasbrook Heights, Hawthorne, Lavalette, Lodi, Jamesburg, Hazlitt, Maiwa. You can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. Manville, Mendocino, Point Pleasant Beach, Hale-10, Caldwell, Oakland, Oceanport, Ridgewood, Ringwood, Seaside High, Seagirt, Shrewsbury, Secaucus, Surf City, Spotswood, Upper Freehold, Upper Saddle River Wall, and way you can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. And Weehawken, West Caldwell, West Long Branch, Westwood, Wyckoff, Woodcliff, Lake, Palisades Park, no wheelchair access, and Palisades Park. Oh no. You can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your wheelchairs home, dear. You can't get no weed. Chester, Maurice River, Franklin Lakes, Harding, Midland Park, Mansfield, Old Bridge, Old Tapan, Ramsey, Danville, Avalon, Parsippany, Pleasantville, Saddlebrook, Brick, and Union City. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed there. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed anywhere. You can't keep your cancer and your squeegees and your patchouli at home. Oh, you hippie, you can't get no weed. You damn hippie, get off my car. Get your dirty damn squeegee off my car, you hippie. You smelly stinky hippies. Get no weed. Can't get no weed. Can't get no weed. All right, where's my other song here? I got one more. I'm just gonna mess around. I like this one. Well, it's 40 below, and I don't give a fuck. Got a doobie in my truck, and I'm off to the ATC. It's pass to the left, take from the right. Come on, you fucking dummy, don't pass to the right. Get out of there, I'll suck you from the rotation again. You piss me off, you fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Well, here comes Johnny with a bong in his hand. He's a one-dab man, he's off to the ATC. It's pass to the left, take from the right. Come on, you fucking dummy, don't pass to the right. Get out of there, sucker, you knock the head off again. You piss me off, you fucking jerk. You get on my nerves. Bong, 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 bong. Bong, 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 bong. Bong, 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 bong. Hot as hell, I don't give a shit. Got my doobie all lit, I'm off to the ATC. It's pass to the left, take from the right. Come on, you fucking dummy, don't pass to the right. Get out of the sugar, you rip the joint in half. You piss me off, you fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Well, here comes Billy with a blunt in his mouth. He's down from the south, he's down from the ATC. It's pass to the left, take from the right. Come on, you fucking dummy, don't pass to the right. Get out of the circle, you fuck the rotation again. You pissed me off, you fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Gonna take my weed back to Curaleaf. I wanna cry cause my weed's so dry. Gonna take my weed back to Curaleaf. I wanna cry cause my weed's so dry. Got plants in the bags and it tastes really bad. Unfortunate and sad, it smells worse than swag. Like the hay you feed a horse, overpriced of course. Spend all my money purchasing remorse. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. The ride is a disaster, no way to make it faster. Right over and out, you get that shitty flower. My life is truly smoking bongs and doobies, staying high throughout the day, feeling really groovy. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. I'm gonna take my weed back to Curaleaf. I wanna cry cause my weed's so dry. Gonna take my weed back to Curaleaf. I wanna cry cause my weed's so dry. Plants in the bags taste really bad, unfortunate and sad. It smells worse than swag, like the hay you feed a horse. Overpriced, of course. Spend all my money purchasing remorse. The ride is a disaster, no way to make it faster. Right over an hour to get that shitty flower. My life is truly smoking bones and doobie, staying high throughout the day and feeling groovy. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. Curaleaf will sell you something, but you won't feel nothing. Take my weed back to Curaleaf. take my weed back to Curly. Gonna take my weed back to Curly. Why not? Take it back. Take that shit back. Take it back. If you don't like it, take it back. Well, I've been shooting these veins so long, singing the same old song. I know every crackhead in these dirty sidewalks of Bricktown, where hustle's the name of the game, and nice guys get washed away like the snow in the rain. There's been loads of itches and hives, risking all of your lives, but I wanna be where the methadone's getting in me, like a methadone cowboy, treading in my horse for a fancy little bottle of dope, like a methadone cowboy, getting crabs and diseases from people I don't even know, and my dealer's calling me on the phone. Well, I really don't know how to abstain, and a smile can't hide all my pain. When you're down and you're chasing that dragon and you're taking the long way, in a dream of the drugs I'll do, with a bundle and a needle in my shoe. There've been loads of nodding and drooling. Who do you think you're fooling? I wanna be where the methadone's getting in me, like a methadone cowboy, trading in my horse for a fancy bottle of dope, like a methadone cowboy, getting crabs and diseases from people I don't even know, and my dealer's calling me on the phone. How high's your papa, mama? 20 feet high and rising. How high's your mama, papa? 20 feet high and rising. Got my dams, big fat slabs. Got so high, we all called cabs. I sent my cannabis to the labs. 20 feet high and rising. How high's your papa, mama? 30 feet high and rising. How high's your mama, papa? 30 feet high and rising. What you need? I got some weed. I got the clones, I got the seeds. Smoke cannabis and don't do speed. 30 feet high and rising. How high's your papa, mama? 40 feet high and rising. How high's your mama, papa? 40 feet high and rising. Cheech and Chong in an 8-foot bong. It helps us all to get along. Makes us write some really dumb song. 50 feet high and rising. Well, how high's your papa, mama? 50 feet high How high is your mama, Papa?
50 feet high and rising.
The bong is full, tastes wonderful. Pull up a chair and take a pull. Lemon terps are really flavorful. 50 feet high and rising. It's 50 feet high and rising. Rosin. 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 Oh, come on. Hey. Hey. No. Really? Smoking marijuana's the American way. I smoke about an ounce of weed a day. Don't care what the government has to say. Thank God for cannabis. Marijuana come around the bend. Pass it over to me again. It's fun to share it with your friend. Thank God for cannabis. Grow it in the house and you grow it in the field, and you treat your plants well and you get a good yield. You pay the cotton money and you get that shield. Thank God for cannabis. No one competes with the U.S. green, the best damn bud that I've ever seen. Smells so good, tastes so clean. Thank God for cannabis. A cancer patient gets quite a lift when they can smoke on a big fat split. 10% as a friend we get. Thank God for cannabis. You grow it in the house and you grow it in the field, and you treat your plants well and you get a good deal. You pay the cotton money and you get that shield. Thank God for cannabis. Everybody, bone, bone, big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 bone. No one competes with the U.S. green, the best damn bud that I've ever seen. Smells look good, tastes so clean. Thank God for cannabis. Marijuana come around the bend, pass it over to me again. It's fun to share it with your friend. Thank God for cannabis. You grow it in the house and you grow it in the field. See your plants well, then you get a good deal. Pay the cotton money and you get that shield. Thank God for cannabis. Bone, bone, big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 big, big bone, 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 bone. Smoking marijuana's the American way. I smoke about an ounce of weed a day. Thank God for cannabis. House and you grow it in the field and you treat your plants well and you get a good deal. You really got money and you get that
You okay? Now say it. You're gonna be okay.
I guess that's all we got. I guess we'll end it on this one. We'll end it on this one. Green. Spark them up. Seriously, spark them up.
They said time away, gonna do him well, but I got back out. Now I'm at like, time bomb. I'm gonna explode when I step out on the streets. I'm gonna lock and load. They said time away, he's gonna do it well, but I got back up. Now I'm mad as hell. Fake ass peers, always talking shit. I talk, punk. You're gonna get hit. Sick of the phony punk ass people. When I got the 38 and I wrote the sequel. Talk about a raw threat. I need true, yet I'm blowing up my tracks. When you're gonna wreck, can't get nothing but. We're so bigger, we're super Tarantino type nigga. Talk about a raw threat. I need true, yet I'm blowing up my tracks. When you're gonna wreck, can't get nothing but. We're so bigger, so hardcore now. I am gonna be a boy.
Wow. All right, I'm thoroughly stoned right now. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Wayne was in the van. He was stopped by the man. He was busted. Busted. Carol from Lodi was just getting high. She was busted. Busted. Ed from down south, he was running his mouth. The police came inside, they ransacked his house. All this because of a rat on the couch. He was busted. Anthony and Summit had tinted glass. He was busted. Busted. Lefty and Linden was being an ass. He was busted. Busted. David and Keyport, they took all his stash. They took all his bones. They took all his cash. Mike on the bike had his head beat and bashed. He was busted. Chris from Absecon, cops took her wheelchair. She was busted. Busted. She had a shit in a bucket, cause the cops didn't care. She was busted. Busted. Jessie was growing some weed in her home. They spent time and money wiretapping her phone. They took away Jeremy, now Joanne's alone. They were busted. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm done. I'm stoned. I'm getting some coffee. I'm going to bed. Fun council meeting. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll see you next week. Oh, podcast tomorrow. Podcast tomorrow morning. I forgot. Never mind. Good night, everybody.